Hey, football's back. Football's back.
He's bake.
Football's back. Thursday night football tonight. You got the Dallas Cowboys heading on over to New Jersey to take on the New York Giants.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that means
Panic
actually
alert.
football's technically. I mean, it's technically back, but
Okay, how about Army Temple? Does that do it for you?
I mean, that actually might be more interesting to me.
Army Temple get you going?
Might be more interesting to me.
Yeah,
Anytime you get a service academy going, I'm like, my eyebrow goes up.
Yeah.
I was like, that's gonna get weird.
Not a great football day, but that means we can kind of focus on baseball a little bit. I'm watching Royals Nationals.
With implications.
Yeah. The Mariners season hinges on the
losing.
Kansas City Royals losing to the Washington Nationals, and that's not good. Oh, hey, errant throw. It is now 4-4 in the bottom of the 8th inning in D.C., almost double play, but Royals couldn't turn it. The Mariners desperately need the Royals to lose. I mean, you win 54% of your games, you don't have to worry about the Royals losing, right?
It's tough.
It's true.
It's tough.
It's true. The Mariners need to win out. They need the Royals to take some L's. The Tigers take some L's. The Twins take some L's. That's all that needs to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really simple math. It's science right now. Sucks. So, yeah, we can focus on a little baseball today. Huh? How about that?
As someone whose team is not in the wild card chase, I just don't care.
Yep. All right. Well, sadness for you then. Sadness for you.
Womp, womp,
Yesterday,
womp.
we started the show with the food wars at the Meringue household.
Yes.
And today, we've got a battle of our own because I sent this text message to my wife. My wife, last night, it was cold. Like, it was cold outside.
Yes.
And she had window open, fan going. I was like, our room is freezing right now. She's like, well, I like it colder in here. This morning, I was like shivering last night. Blankets like up to my chin. This morning, I get out of bed. I see a heating pad on her side of the bed.
Wow.
So I sent the text message of, if you were cold at night and I preferred to keep the window open while we sleep, and then you found out I was sleeping with the heating pad, how do you think that would go for me?
Just a little low crawl and throwing that chaos grenade over the top.
How do we think this would play out on my end?
Not
here?
passive aggressive at all.
How do we feel like this thing would play out here with the picture of the heating pad in the bed?
Oh, you had the evidence?
Oh yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're gonna win.
No, I'm taking this loss. This is a loss I will take. I'm gonna take this one. But these are the situations very similar to the situation you were in yesterday. This is like what Will, you're single. This is what marriage is. All right?
I'll stay single then.
You get these little battles that are going, right? You get these little.
The ice cream battle continued to wage war last night.
Uh-oh.
So
It was too cold for ice cream.
No, it wasn't.
I can agree. It does get too cold for ice cream.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't last night, particularly after Netable.
Oh, okay. 2 nights in a row.
Then
Back
you
to back.
were warm.
Yeah. I was cozy.
Back-to-back nights.
Look,
Look
man,
at you.
I'm working out a lot more, and I'm in a lot more pain. It's the nature of the beast here.
Not known to kill gains, marijuana. Alcohol, though, bad. Don't do that. Kills gains.
Kills gains.
Kills gains.
But to be fair,
I'm living a healthier lifestyle. Give me this edible where I'm just going to eat.
Well, to be fair, all I did eat was what was left in the very bottom of the little Haagen-Dazs
Yeah,
cup. So
all right.
But I went in there, I grab the spoon, and I turn around, and my wife is standing in the doorway, like, leering at me. And I go, what? She goes, well, I guess you can have it.
I guess you can have it?
I was like, I'm sorry, what? She goes, oh, I was coming in here to eat that. I'm like, no.
Oh, man.
No. If I wanted to throw it away at this point in time, it was my prerogative to do that. You ate all of mine.
Dang.
So I thought it was done there. So she goes, fine, I'll make a smoothie.
You know better than that.
So she's like, I'll make a smoothie.
It was definitely not done there.
And so she made a delicious smoothie. And as she walked away for a split second, I went over and gave a little sample. And she had the audacity to go, I only made a small one. What are you doing? And I was like, you ate all my ice cream.
Yeah, no, this is where you just needed to eat the brain freeze, know it's
just
coming.
House it.
Just pound as much as you can, and then just have that little bit left, like the 2 bites she left you, where she was like, hey, I left you some.
Enjoy.
And then just be like, left you some.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to choose violence, that's the way that could have played out. But I am proud of you. You did not choose violence.
I didn't.
You did not go full petty. No. You just took the sip.
Just scolded her and said,
look,
when I took the sip, when she said something, the glass stayed near my lips for about 5 seconds where I contemplated, do I just house this? I was like, I just kind of gave her the side eye like, if I want this, it's mine.
So now we just have threats going.
Then she Tanya Harding's you.
I mean, she didn't have to try that hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is becoming like Tom and Jerry. Like this is a blood feud.
Yeah.
Brewing.
Yeah.
Somebody has to win.
Instead of coming back and like having the coconut pineapple. Is that what it is?
Pineapple coconut, yeah.
Sure. Instead of having that like, hey, olive branch, it was, I was going to eat that.
Yes. I was like, how dare you?
I think you found your soulmate, bud.
Yep.
I think you did. I think you found somebody that just fits you, right? You got that.
She knows how to instigate.
Oh, man. So that's marriage, Will. Mm-hmm. Buckle up, buddy.
Not gonna do that anytime soon. I'm gonna hang out over here where I get all the ice cream I want whenever I want it.
Yeah, I think that's for the best. Just for like society as a whole too.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
I'm a nice guy. I'm an educator, dude. Wow. I was running around with kindergartners yesterday, educating the youth.
Yeah. I mean, I think some people should just stay single. Not have kids.
But then I'm the weird uncle. I don't like that. That's a bad look. Don't want to be the weird uncle.
I mean, you're not.
Not yet.
You're not.
But at 36 and single, that's a different situation.
Do you think that you won't be the weird uncle regardless?
No, I'll be the fun uncle because I'll take them to go get ice cream and then give him back to my brother as like a punishment for him being my little brother.
Okay.
And annoying me.
But like that. But when you have kids, like you can do that being single. How would that be you being weird uncle?
Yeah, but then like you have to explain. Like I feel
I'm just trying to help the greater good.
All I know is I know of like not a family member, but a friend of the family, and I always thought of their uncle as weird. Now, to be fair, he also lived in their treehouse.
To be fair, what?
And he was single, but that was its own thing. But I always found him to be the weird uncle, and that's like my biggest fear. Never be that guy or buy any cats.
I mean, you're not very many steps away from living in a treehouse, but
I live in an apartment. I pay rent. Rent went up, and I can still afford it. What up?
Ba-bam.
Up again, you'll be in the treehouse.
Yeah, you could be in a tree.
Yeah, that could happen.
Look, you're one bad weekend at A away from living in a treehouse, brother.
I'm not up there that much. I do just fine.
Is it
everything is responsible gambling?
What was the show the Roloffs were on?
Little People, Big World.
That's right. Yeah, they have a kick-ass treehouse out on that property. Have you ever seen that thing?
Yeah.
They used to have it open to like a THPRD like rec center trip. You remember those summer trips that you could do when we were kids?
Nope, never went on them. Never went on them. My sister babysat for them.
Oh, no kidding.
Mm-hmm. That's where we lived.
Yeah, I guess it is relatively close. Yeah.
No, that was like we lived like a mile from
2 blocks.
No, we didn't have blocks. It's the country.
No, it's the country. It's a lot of property.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, you can have a cool treehouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool treehouse are great. My our offensive line coach in college, he had a great little piece of land, kind of up in the woods, up in Ashland, and he had a treehouse that had electricity, had cable.
Yeah,
he had like his own little fridge, and he was like, "Dude, this is my escape."
See, that's a man cave. Cave treehouse rocks.
It was badass, dude. It was an awesome treehouse.
Living in a treehouse, aka your brother's treehouse, really sad. Yeah. Don't want to be that guy.
Well,
I mean,
man cave treehouse, really cool.
I mean, if it's a cool treehouse, though.
No, that's nope.
I mean,
nope. Nope,
right.
this is like
I
living
wonder,
in
I
your
wonder
brother's
how they
basement.
zone that. Like, if you owned a piece of property in like greater Portland metro area, but you didn't build a house, but you just built a tree house,
Yeah.
what would they? How does that get?
I don't know.
Do they tax you based on the square footage of your tree house? Like,
You have to ask permission to build a treehouse?
Well,
well,
I
it
mean, it
depends on where-
depends on like
where
if you
you-
have
what county
electricity.
you're- yeah.
I
No,
feel like
you're-
this is government overreach I've been hearing about.
Oh, buddy.
Stay out of my treehouse.
Yeah, if you're in Portland, if you're in Multnomah County, you got to ask to wipe your butt.
Yeah.
If you're out in like Yamhill County, where I'm at, you don't ask for anything, and that's the
Mm-mm.
wonderful. That's why you go live in those counties.
Yep.
It's great.
Nothing goes wrong out there.
You guys do it way different in Oregon than we do in Washington. I
What
don't
do
have
you
to
do?
ask anyone to wipe my butt.
Well, I
Well,
bet you do.
Yeah, you're probably just not
Not yet.
doing it.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
I think starting would be your starting would be a good baseline for
Yeah.
you, Will. Then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Maybe you should.
Ask people. If you say yes to wiping my butt, I don't want to be
No,
around
not,
you.
not no, you're not asking somebody else to do it for you. You're asking permission to do it.
Yes.
I'm not doing that.
I know.
I'm not asking permission for anything.
I would love. How many bathrooms have you been to that have a bathroom attendant? Will,
That's
do you know what
real
a bath-
thing. I know
Okay.
what it is. I've seen TV.
I
Yeah.
could see Will. I could see Will going, little help.
Nah. I'm an at home
Hey,
only
what are you
guy.
doing here? What are you? What's your role?
What's that towel for?
What's your role here for?
I'd be very confused. I'd be more like, hey, get out.
You throw me one of those mints?
There's no peeping toms when I'm in the bathroom. Get out.
Oh man. All right. Well, there we go. That's an opener for you. That's an opener for you.
I like it.
All
I
right.
like it. I also like the Washington Nationals relief pitcher right now, Finnegan. Incredible lettuce.
Yeah, he's got good flow.
Oh man,
You
That-
got
that
good
is
flow.
that is luscious.
Mm-hmm.
Natural curls.
Yep.
I need to find out what he uses.
Coconut curls.
Okay.
I almost brought it out. I almost
Your
brought it
hair?
out. Yeah.
You're weirdly obsessed with your hair.
Well, I had not done anything with it for like 2-3 weeks.
You told this story yesterday.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I brushed it down. My wife was shocked.
Yeah.
It's getting there, man.
Well, maybe that's why she's eating your ice cream.
Wow.
She doesn't like it.
Mm.
You know she doesn't like
I
it.
ordered headbands, and now I feel very weird about it.
This is
Hell
going to be an
yeah.
issue.
As a bald guy, hell yeah, dude.
Will needs a headband.
I
Do it.
was working out last night, and my
got
hat
in your
kept
eyes?
no. Yes, my
I just
hat kept
hate that.
falling off, and my hair kept getting in
Yeah.
my face.
All right.
I was
the
like,
worst.
God dang it! I'm going all Gardner Minshew now.
Learn to braid your hair. That's like my favorite thing I ever did.
What do you like? Okay. You pulled it too tight. All your hair's gone now.
It was
I think you
going
pulled
out
it too-
before
yeah,
that. That
pulled
had
it too
nothing to
tight.
do with that.
Pulled it too
Mm.
tight. All right. Well, what kind of headbands did you go? Thick or did you go thin?
The
soccer.
shoestring Nike
Yeah,
ones.
you went.
Yeah.
So you're like a high school soccer player.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna go like the thick ones like we had growing up.
Yeah. Well, you should have
Yeah.
been a throw.
Give it OG.
R.I.P. Uncle
Yeah.
Cliffy.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
I mean, there's probably a bag somewhere that
You
has like
could-
40 of those things in it.
You could get it embroidered. R.I.P. Uncle Spliffy.
Spliffy. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
And people be like, "What's that?"
Big
Like,
ups.
you know,
Whoa,
you
Cliff
don't know.
Robinson? What do you?
You don't know.
Dude, he was at UConn before UConn was cool.
Yeah, well, he made UConn cool.
It's kind of weird to think like Jim Calhoun made UConn cool.
Right?
Yeah. I think Ray Allen made it UConn cool.
Probably.
Rip
Kemba.
Hamilton.
Well, it's like
Ray
Tark
Allen.
making UNLV cool.
Kemba.
It's like
But okay, having a mob boss be the basketball coach at UNLV,
pretty great.
that made so much sense. Like, there's certain people that just fit. Like Patino at UMass was perfect too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's great now. I mean, Patino anywhere really in the Big East is great.
Yeah. Or was it? Yeah, it was Patino at UMass, right? Not Cal. Cal.
Cal
No, it
was
was
at
Cal at
UMass.
UMass. Cal was at
was
UMass
UMass.
with Marcus Camby. Yeah.
Where, no, what, I have,
Yeah. It was Coach Cal. Coach Cal, but I mean, we're talking the same thing.
Iona has similar colors. That might be why you got confused.
Calipari, Patino. It was John Calipari because he had to vacate. He vacates everywhere he goes.
Oh, I have St. John's in my. I had the red and white of St.
Yeah.
John's in my head.
It's
Okay, that's what it was.
It's the vacation of wins. That's what happens. It's Coach
He
Cal.
played at UMass.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Patino did?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I knew there was a UMass tie in there somewhere. I'm just like, what the hell was it?
All right. Well, onward and upward. Let's get to this radio show.
Do it.
Boy, the Pac-12 did it again.
Mm.
This has got to be a reality check for the Cougs and the Beavs right now.
Uh-oh.
Because it's the same old story over and over again. Next on the Fan. Things are going well. You got a little bit of leverage. You go back and you say, hey, well, how about a little more cash here? And then you leave somebody at the altar. That sound familiar from yesterday's show?
Oh.
UNLV's basically done exactly what their quarterback did to them. But they did it to the Mountain West. After overtures from the Pac-12 conference, late last night, multiple reports came out that the Mountain West had agreed to give both Air Force and UNLV upwards of $25 to $30 million apiece to stay in the Mountain West Conference and hold the conference together. Now, we know this is much needed based on the fact that 4 schools have left the Mountain West already to go and join the Pac-12. The Pac-12 has 6 teams now, and they are looking for more teams to admit, or 7 teams now, to admit into the conference in order to be a viable conference moving forward, with 8 teams to have a membership at the FBS level. UNLV and Air Force both had their flirtations with the Pac-12 for UNLV, Air Force with the American Athletic Conference, and UNLV said, or the Mountain West said, all right, guys, if you guys stick around, we're going to give you big bumps, because they will hold all the cards for the Mountain West. It's not going to be New Mexico, San Jose State, Hawaii.
Hilariously, this is the thing that the Pac-12
Wyoming
didn't do when they could have kept things together.
Yeah. Well, they didn't really have the funds to do it, and basically, this is Mountain West is banking on them winning the lawsuit against the Pac-12, because where that money will come to get $50 million. How much does do the departing schools owe the Mountain West?
Yeah, was it 60?
It's $55 million. $55 million for the 5 schools to leave the Mountain West.
And if the Mountain West does end up losing that lawsuit, then UNLV and Air Force will leave, because
they are in a leverage position. Because if they both have a landing spot,
AAC for the Air Force and Pac-12 for the UNLV.
So if the Pac-12 wins their lawsuit, they don't have to pay the poaching fee to the Mountain West. Then UNLV can just say, all right, now we'll go to the Pac-12, and we're going to get more money than we currently have right now. They, with the Mountain West, will currently get money that they weren't going to get before, just for sticking around in playing nice with all the other schools. So this is where the Pac-12 is just so out of touch, because unveiling the Mountain West 4 joining the conference a week ago is the latest in a long list of mishandlings by the Pac-12. Because we talked about this. I said, why would you do this now if you only have 6 teams at the time? They since have added 1 more in Utah State. But why would you do this now if you didn't have the other ones in hand? And, I mean, it was because a lot of people were like, well, they must have something else, right? That's what you said. You said they have to have the other schools in pocket, and they know it. They didn't. We now know.
Overextended the hell out of themselves.
They did not know that the other schools were coming their way. You have got to be sure if you're going to do that. And then they lost their leverage in all of this by going and getting those 4 schools. They did not have a plan. They did not have more schools lined up. And as always, the Pac-12 got played again. And right now they're getting played by UNLV and Air Force.
Which, if you're getting played by the government.
Well, that's pretty standard. My question is, though, like, how much longer are we going to just solely blame conference commissioners and not see the constants here?
I mean,
which is university leadership.
You have a new commissioner. You have your 3rd commissioner now of the Pac-12.
Everybody blame Larry Scott. Larry Scott deserved a lot of blame. Yeah. Everybody blame George Kliavkoff. George Kliavkoff deserved a lot of blame. Now, I mean, are we going to blame the 3rd commissioner now, or are we going to say
for what, 8 months?
What is going on, and why are you going out and making these moves when you don't know?
When you don't have anybody in your back pocket. That's the whole thing, is that the Big 10, the Big 12, they knew. They did all the necessary due diligence and all the work, and now maybe the Pac-12 did, and maybe they thought they did have it done. But that's the problem, is that they thought they had it done, and then because I've talked to people around UNLV who said that the Pac-12 was putting a full court press on them. Like, they believed that the Pac-12 was going, like, that's where UNLV was going to end up. And maybe that's where they were 48 hours ago. And they went to the Mountain West and said the same thing USC and Oregon did 8 years ago.
It was USC and Washington.
I'm sorry, Washington.
Yeah.
Pay us more. We are your linchpins.
Yeah.
And the Pac-12 said, no. And Mountain West went, okay, because it was they know they're cooked, absolutely, unequivocally, totally fried, flambéed, roasted, however you want to put it. They're done. They're done if UNLV and Air Force leave.
This is a bad day for the Pac-12
Which is insane because they just added 4 teams.
Well, but that's the thing is at the time it was like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you going just to 4? You know you need
2 more
to get at least 6 teams. Why would you just go and say, yeah, we got these 4? I've said this, and I said it at the time, like Tulane and Memphis didn't make sense because they would leave the American Athletic Conference for a nominal gain financially.
And they'd probably lose it with the amount of travel they'd have to do.
No, that was my whole thing, is that their travel would have been wiped out, all of that for all of their other sports. So why would that make sense for them? They weren't going to be in a power conference. They would have just gotten a little bit more of a bump on a year-to-year basis. That would have gone right out the door with your travel expenses. It didn't make sense. And this doesn't make sense now for the Pac-12 moving forward. I hope that they do stay together, but this also goes back to my idea of how UNLV is approaching this entire situation. I think is very smart on their part, but it's very bad for the Pac-12 in that UNLV is not going to be made to be the bad guy. They are going to sit there and they're going to watch the whole thing burn down. And they're going to have an escape route no matter where it goes.
They know they have a life raft one way or the
Yeah.
other. These are the rich people on the Titanic. This is like, we're fine.
Because they will find a landing spot. They're not like Hawaii.
No.
They're not like Wyoming. They are sitting there going, we're wanted.
Well,
and if the Pac-12 says, no, the hell with you guys, we're going to go somewhere else, they'll be fine. We'll go to the American.
Yeah.
We'll go to Conference USA. We'll go to wherever. They will find a landing spot because people will want to be in Las Vegas.
Yes.
The Pac-12 wants to be in Las Vegas. This is, for the Pac-12, they don't have a hand anymore.
No.
They really don't. Because if you're going to say, well, we got the best of the Mountain West.
Well, most of it.
But now you're going to have to take the bottom if they're going to leave.
Yeah.
And that's going to come with a lot of baggage if you're going to take Hawaii. All right, go play basketball over there.
Enjoy.
Go play baseball over there. Go play volleyball over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is in, oh, by the way, they're already in another conference for all of those other sports. They're only a partial member of the Mountain West. Yeah. That is where,
I mean, in the worst case scenario is you're maybe scooping up somebody in the WCC.
Yeah.
Like, and then what does that do for you? You know, it's like
nothing.
So
Nothing.
It's not shocking, unfortunately.
No,
I thought maybe this is me being stupid. I thought new commissioner, learned lessons.
No.
Got 4 teams agreed. That means they must have the 2 more in the back pocket, and they had Gonzaga. And I was like, hey, they got a snowball going down the hill. It's not the biggest thing I've ever seen, but they've got some momentum. And like I said, 48 hours ago, it sounded like UNLV was going to be a Pac-12 member. And I was like, well, damn.
But they got played again.
Yeah, I mean, to get played by people or universities that aren't at the big boy table is insane.
And I look at this texture on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit them online at vancouverford.com. This might be the dumbest move I've seen from UNLV, and that's saying a lot given the last 24 hours. I actually don't think it's a dumb move by UNLV.
No, they know they're safe.
They're safe no matter how this plays out.
Take the best, most amount of money, most amount of leverage, and just keep applying it. This is what you should have done. The Pac-12 8 years ago. This is what they should have done when they went after the Big 12 teams, and they had the leverage, they had the ability to really lean on that, and they didn't. UNLV is going, hey, remember all those other teams that were all like scattered around? We don't really know. They know now that they're wanted by multiple parties.
And they can just sit back and they can watch this lawsuit. If the Pac-12 wins the lawsuit, the money that Air Force and UNLV are going to be given by the Mountain West isn't going to be available.
No.
They're not. It won't be available because that's what they're banking on. The poaching fee is going to be that retention for UNLV and Air Force. So if that doesn't come through, they can say, all right, Pac-12, we're good. Like, let's go. Mount up.
And if
We're
you're
a
the Pac-12
team.
if you're the Pac-12, you have to live with that.
Because they need Las Vegas.
Yes. And that's the thing is like, you can say, oh, we're bitter you didn't come here. No, you need to shut up and swallow that medicine.
And if so say the Pac-12 backfills with whatever, I don't even know what direction you go in now.
No.
You have 7 teams. You need at least one more. What direction do you go? I know what direction the Mountain West is going to go in. Sac State has done a feasibility study of going up from FCS up to the FBS. They would go and try to convince, a Sac State to come in. And if you're in UNLV at that point, you go, huh. So wait a minute. If we go undefeated and we schedule one really hard non-conference game, we win that. We win our league. A group of 5 team is guaranteed a spot.
Mm-hmm.
And say we go and, play one of these schools that left us as another non-conference game, and we could say we beat a Pac-12 school if they survive somehow. Their path is pretty easy. They don't have to go through Boise State,
Fresno
Washington
State.
State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Oregon State every year. They could just say, all right, well, we'll just go unbeaten and dare
It could
the
be like those
college
early
football
2000s
playoff.
Boise State teams where you had like the one game a year where it was against a Pac-12 team. If they won that, all of a sudden, they find themselves in a pretty rad bowl game.
But there's a pathway.
Yeah.
It's undefeated. You just sit there and go, oh, well, I guess.
But the
And
flip
that's
side
the way
is
they see it.
if UNLV does want to get in the big boy world, then it's a little dicier, particularly if you're talking about football and basketball.
Yeah.
Because you can't have it both ways.
This is and then Texter has come through. It's absolutely stupid. Good luck even getting $1 million in the next media deal for the Mountain West Conference. They have 0 college football playoff access. Well, they actually have more than the Pac-12 right now. And they desperately needed cash because they're $20 million in debt and they're relying on money lined up in litigation. Just absolutely stupid. And look at the reaction from their fans. They're not happy. This is where if the Mountain West doesn't come through with that money, they're still going to the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And if they don't go to the Pac-12, they're going to the American. They're going to Conference USA. Las Vegas is an attractive sports entity to have. It really is.
I honestly, I could see even
And
the
we
Big
could-
12 looking at them.
If you take your Pac-12 glasses off and you just look at it from the standpoint of, does UNLV have leverage right now?
It's the most attractive
and this is the
sports
first time
market.
they've ever had leverage.
No, it's the most attractive sports market in the country. I've talked to people that work at the the highest levels in sports business, and it's insane what Las Vegas means now.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. It was, and like this texture says as well, from a strictly this is business, not personal point of view, the Pac-12 not killing the Mountain West first, then raiding the AAC is an all-time blunder. No doubt about it. The Pac-12 has dropped the ball again.
I'd say it's unbelievable, but like this is Charlie Brown. That's what the Pac-12 is.
And look, they still might survive this if they win the lawsuit. But right now, you're taking another loss. In the short term, you've taken another loss. And that sucks for the fan bases of Oregon State and Washington State. Because honestly, what schools do they go and get now? If you don't win the lawsuit against the Mountain West, then where do you go? Because if you win the lawsuit against the Mountain West, you get what you wanted. And that's why that's why I like the play from Air Force and UNLV here. I do. I like the play.
No, it's great. Like I said, they're doing what teams should do.
Yeah.
Leverage it.
And if you're Oregon State and Washington State, you hate it. You hate it. And you should. And that's totally fine.
You've been
totally
played
okay.
again.
Yeah. God, man. That sucks. That truly is bad stuff for the Pac-12.
Not great, Bob.
And we'll see. We'll see. This money does not exist right now, but if you can get it, good on you. Bad news for the Mariners. bad news for the Mariners. That'll be in Big Will Bet Sports Center, which is right now. Hey, 1080 fan friends, just an Oregon State alum and diehard Mariners fan wondering what and where I should start drinking right now. Yeah, that sucks. That's brutal.
I was talking to one of the engineers at K2 the other day, and he is a Oregon State Mariners, Raiders, Blazers fan, and I was like, my brother in Christ, you need to change something. Like you can't have all of that.
Yeah.
You can't have all of that. That's not like, look, I've covered the Blazers and I was a fan growing up, but I had the St. Louis Cardinals winning titles to balance me out. I had my Trojans winning national titles to balance me out. Hell, my LA Kings won national titles to offset my Raiders and Blazers pains. You can't have all of that sports pain.
Yeah, Mariners
that's too much.
Officially eliminated with the Royals beating the Nationals 7-4 today. So they are officially eliminated from the wild card hunt. Damn. That one stinks. That one stinks.
54%.
Well, right now, I'm watching the Oakland A's take on the Texas Rangers, the last game in Oakland. And this has been an unmitigated S show.
Oh, yeah.
In Oakland as they're going on the way out. I love it. The fans are showing up. They've been so loud. They've been raucous.
You heard 30,000 people screaming, sell the team.
Yeah. It's awesome.
What was crazy was the A's announcers let it ring out and acknowledged it.
Yeah.
I was like, good for you.
Look, guys like Dallas Braden, I don't think he's moving to Sacramento to go call these games next year. So I think there's a lot of people that are just fed up and they're like, nope, we're gonna let it go. Let's let this thing ride.
Don't talk over the top of it. I mean, they like it felt like almost like they pointed the mics out and like turned it up.
Well, when it's so loud, yeah, that's gonna happen. And yesterday, you had an employee of the Oakland A's sent out on his social media his discount code for in-stadium purchases.
I missed that. Oh my God,
it's
wonderful.
A guy who I think is in field maintenance because I've seen going around from the same Twitter account him on a riding mower, like taking video from the outfield as he's driving around and mowing the outfield. And he tweeted out his code so anybody in the stadium can get 30% off food and beverage at the point of sale. And fans were like, no, it's working. But the people working the cash register are adding on like 10% tips because they know you're getting a smoking. You're still getting 20% off your pally.
Yeah.
You know, they're adding on a little bit. And so he was like, whatever, go and use it. So sold out game. They're not getting all the money from the concessions because
the margins are cutting into it.
And the fans are like, no, this works. Like it's absolutely working.
And they're not going to be able to fix it in time.
You had on Tuesday night, a fan literally took his seat out of the stadium.
Unbolted it.
And was like, deuces.
How did he get the tools in to do that? Did he bring some plastic wrenches?
It's Oakland.
There's probably a few that are shaking loose.
But last night, I saw this one from Bob Nightingale of USA Today. Said, currently 6 security guards are chasing a fan who tried to steal his seat out of the stadium. So Tuesday night, guy gets away with it. Wednesday night, guy's like, great idea. Tries to do it himself. He takes off running, has 6 security guards trying to chase him down.
Oh, God. I know a few people that have like old Yankee Stadium seats and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they sell them off. And John J. Fisher trying to make a buck off this. Well, it wouldn't be John J. Fisher. It'd be Oakland Alameda.
Yeah. I think there's
Alameda
also
County.
like a soccer team that was tweeting that they were going to play there or something. So I think it's still going to be.
The Roots? The Oakland Roots?
I think so.
Doesn't Damian Lillard own a part of that? It's not like it's like a USL team or
San
whatever.
Jose doesn't play there, obviously, because they're on
they built a brand new stadium, like John J. Fisher was saying, is that, hey, we need a new stadium, and we're going to turn things around. They built a new stadium, and they suck.
Yeah, well, then he pulled every last penny out of it because he's a penny pincher.
Could you imagine, though, being a guy who goes to, like, you're going to the last A's game. It's sold out today. The crowd is live. Could you imagine showing up and be like, where is my seat?
It's just gone. That's SRO, baby.
It's like, just sit here on the concrete.
Yeah, it's like the old polo grounds, you know? There wasn't a lot. They just had a little rope for your section.
That'd be a hell of a move there. You're just like, where in the world did my seat this is the seat that guy was in.
Well, I mean, John J. Fisher, like, selling all the seats before the last game would be hilarious.
That would be on brand for him. That would be totally on brand. But this is the best kind of S show, and Oakland is showing out for it. And it's proving that there is a passionate fan base there. There is a fan
Sure.
base that cares mightily about the Oakland A's. They were just not showing up to stick it to you, Fisher, because you don't care about the team. All you care about is making money. And that's all the fans were saying is like, if you give us a reason, we'll show up. And their reason right now is to show the players they still care. To show all of baseball, we still care. This isn't about us not caring about the A's.
Disinterested in baseball.
It's about
disinterested
hating
in John Fisher.
John J. Fisher,
Yeah.
the owner who ran this franchise into the ground. And I appreciate Oakland for doing that. And last night, it was the last night game. Today's getaway day, so the A's players are going to have to just finish the game, go straight to the airport. You got a flight to catch to go finish out the
bags
season.
for Sacramento.
So last night was like the last night game. And this came to us via NBC Sports Bay Area. This is Dallas Braden, who was a pitcher, threw a no-hitter on Mother's Day of all days when his mom, I believe, was either battling cancer or just died from cancer. He's an A's legend, and I thought his send-off for the people of Oakland for the final night game was perfect.
But to a lot of the folks in this town, Jenny, this is religion. This Coliseum has been their cathedral where they have come and made peace. They've come to escape. I think a lot of folks, given the opportunity, have a good idea, or at least they think they have a good idea on how they would say goodbye to an old friend. And something that we know is people process emotions and things like this very differently. And I think it's wonderful to watch people take it in their own way.
Game was over for like an hour. Fans were just still
Hanging on.
taking it in.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not the same, but I think it falls in the similar vein of like things you're just not used to in sports. And I remember when Paul Allen passed because it was unexpected, and it kind of set the fan base. Like people are like that I knew, they were diehard Blazers fans. They had no connection to Paul Allen other than he owned the team. Like we're pretty distraught. And like they processed it like it's different. They kind of hung around and lingered in that moment because you just don't know kind of what comes next. And if you're an Oakland A's fan, you don't know what comes next. Like you know that. Here's the insane thing: they're supposed to go play in Sacramento. That's still not a for sure thing.
They have no direction.
Like they don't know for sure how they're going to do this next year. Still, like this is a professional team.
Unbelievable.
It's so insane. It's like what happens if that falls through? Do they go play at like a park? Like where do they go? Do they go because they can't share time with the Giants now because the schedule's made out for all of the other events at their field.
Play on the road every game.
I mean, seriously.
They are the Washington Generals. Same colors.
Yeah.
Nah, they'll play in Sacramento. They'll just play at a minor league baseball stadium. That sucks.
So or whatever, some other regional minor, like the nice minor league field, but little AA field.
Yeah, wherever their triple, double, and single A teams play.
See them in Hillsborough next year.
Yeah, sure, why not? We're Diamondbacks in Hillsborough.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, so.
But you know what I mean? Like how insane that would be.
Their entire franchise sucks.
All because can you believe that something sucks that much
except for their
because of
uniforms.
one person?
Their uniforms are great.
The vacuum of suck with John Fisher is so severe.
Yeah.
It has the capacity to tank a $1 billion entity. It's truly impressive.
It really is. It really is. It really, really, really is. All right. Well, let's move on. You want to get to something good?
Sure.
You want some good news? I feel like we've just come out of the gate just like, wow.
I mean, I got some.
Except for I think the A's stuff was fantastic.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
I think it's fantastic.
Giving
They're
John
fans.
Fisher a double barrel on the way out. Yeah,
I think that is
absolutely.
good.
Yeah.
I think that is good.
Perfect. Because we have plenty of crappy NBA news to get to too.
Is it really that crappy?
I mean, yeah.
All right, well, get to it next. A big move on the periphery
Sure.
of the NBA. All right, Danny Dusty on the Fan.
Coast to coast high.
Indeed.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. Andrew Marchand of The Athletic has reported that senior writer Zach Lowe has been let go by ESPN, which, if you're talking about where the NBA is headed with a new media rights deal and cross-platform content and TNT going away, the watering down of the NBA product and the shoulder programming, the lifeblood of basketball is the game itself, but the stuff that lifts it up is all of the other content.
Mm-hmm.
All of the podcasts, all of the writing, all of the shoulder programming, the TV shows around it that keep the conversation going. No one is better at this than the NFL. And it's not close. The NFL, even with appointment viewing and games typically only 3 times a week, continue to pump out better, higher quality, more frequent content than a league with substantially more games and more storylines, because ESPN in particular has prioritized actually having good content and good people around it.
Okay, so why is this bad for the NBA? Because Zach Lowe he's not dead.
No, but wherever he goes, even if he goes to the Ringer,
okay,
which is pretty likely considering his relationship with Bill Simmons.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if he didn't end up there, to be honest. Where is the place that you go to consume content for a sport?
Well, they're going to go to YouTube and the Low Post podcast on the Ringer Network.
It's still ESPN.
Yeah.
It's still ESPN. The worldwide leader, even to talk about the death of it and, the personalities that have left and gone and done their own things. ESPN, ABC, Disney didn't spend all of that money to not have the eyeballs on it. And they are leaning so far. Look, I love Mike Greenberg. Like, you and I, we grew up with Greeny. Greeny should not be covering basketball.
Well, I don't think that their basketball coverage has been good.
No, it's been limited.
I mean,
the best people that they had, and this is going to sound insane. Adrian Wojnarowski was one of the best, and then he invented the info broker world. Like he was the one.
That was the best part about their coverage was their breaking news arm.
Yeah. Their actual content has been limited to Zach Lowe and Kevin Pelton. Shout out KP, but.
And Pelton is just on .com too.
Yes, and he very rarely makes a TV appearance, but he does podcasts and stuff alongside Zach.
And that's like Zach Lowe. They weren't putting him on TV all that much anymore either.
He was on NBA Today all the time, with the exception of the last few months, because clearly they were making a decision. But it's turned into what everybody has always called it now. It is the screaming and yelling network.
Yeah, and
there's no more actual coverage.
I think that this is not as bad for the NBA as it is for ESPN. But now
I think it's bad for the NBA in general coverage, because if you look at the NFL, people can say what they want about Dan Orlovsky being weird or corny, or what they think of Ryan Clark's suits, or whether or not they like Mina Kimes or Laura Rutledge or Marcus Spears, any of those people. They produce incredible content that is more than yelling about stuff.
Yes.
They actually,
even though Ryan Clark has gone, he's buying into it more and more with every passing day.
Yes, but if you ask Ryan Clark to actually get up and get up on a chalkboard, you're going to get great content.
Yeah.
You're going to get
And that's the interesting thing about the NBA coverage is, like, none of their former players that they have on that network are really willing to do
Legs
it.
is the only one, and not only is Legs the only one willing to do it, Legs is the best.
Yeah, he is.
And
he's really good.
Not particularly close. He is who they should be featuring. But
and they do on Get Up and First Take and
everywhere except for the actual game coverage. We were going to halftime in the NBA playoffs. And remember was it Awful Announcing charted it? They were doing 1:10.
Yep.
And it was like teasing something coming up before 5 minutes of commercials. And it was Greeny and Perkins.
I think that this opens up an opportunity for the NBA. And look, make no mistake about this. ESPN saw that their biggest competition in who does it best in NBA coverage, TNT, right?
Yeah,
they lost their competition in that.
Yeah.
So they can start cutting on theirs, because Tuesday and Thursday night, that's going to be gone after this season, right? In that competition that they're going up against. I think if you frame this differently, there is actually a viable way that we get a platform created that is not ESPN, but you can go and you can, like on YouTube, get better centralized NBA coverage. And I think Lowe and guys like Bill Simmons might be the guy who's motivated enough to get it going. Not that his coverage will be the best on there, but what will happen is you can get more, like where people that want NBA coverage will go to is that YouTube
And
platform.
then that's what McAfee
it's
did. And then
yeah.
McAfee came to ESPN. That's the thing that
And then
drives me
ESPN will
crazy.
be like, oh, it works. And then they go and they'll poach it again.
It's cyclically stupid.
Yeah.
But my biggest complaint with ESPN is they have never treated NBA content creation like they do NFL content creation. Like on the NFL side and the ESPN, they went out and got Kevin Clark. They went out and got a couple of the Ringer guys. They got Ben Solak. Those aren't guys that are like the most entertaining takesmen. They're deep dive all 22 film watching nerds.
I think that's because they're seeing that there is a larger market and a more widespread market for that in NFL than there is in the NBA.
I would disagree, and I think a big part of that is you have to be willing to put it out there. You have to lean into it because the NFL has and ESPN as a partner has always leaned into that from the jump. The NBA, particularly under Adam Silver, has been more about social impressions, which is takes, and it's like
so. I mean, you just said it. Right there. That's it.
It doesn't make any sense.
And so that's why they're saying we're paying in the report is that Lowe is making like 7 figures. That you're paying a guy 7 figures and they're not getting the return that they were expecting out of the guy who is that X's and O's guy from the impressions that they were getting on the website and on the shows that he would appear on.
Well, no, I'm talking social media impressions. Like that's the like. NBA media, we all talk, and like one of the things that I think generally we all despise is how much Adam Silver.
It's
and
highlight
NBA
driven.
Is so like because it's gonna kill the sport. It's gonna kill it because it's no longer about the basketball. It's about snippets of basketball.
Yeah,
it needs to be about the game. And the NFL, every time it is strayed away, it is they.
So who are you upset at here? ESPN or Adam Silver?
Both.
Okay.
Because one hand washes the other.
Because I feel like from what you just said, ESPN just read the room and said, "All right, well, we'll go the other way on it then."
It's a major problem.
Yeah,
it's a major problem.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to hour number 2 here on Danny and Dusty. We've got a little bit of college football news coming at you right now. It's a great weekend of college football, by the way. We got a great college football weekend. We'll get to that in hour number 2. Why the Pirates made a move that everybody does not know. But the best linebacker in college football, according to Pro Football Focus, next on The Fan. We'll be talking about our picks, the NFL picks for Week 4 of the National Football League, coming in hot at 2 o'clock.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, stinky lines across the board.
They're not good.
Yeah, not great, Bob. Not great, Bob. And big favorites have been even worse.
Yeah.
They've been really bad this year. We'll dive into that coming up at the top of next hour. We're Stay on the Web coming up at 1:30 today. Where we start this second hour is I was surprised, to say the least, when I saw this pop up. It came to us from the Sports Illustrated Oregon Ducks, Oregon Ducks on SI. I think Bria Amaranthus, doesn't she run that?
I think so.
Yeah. Pro Football Focus has Bryce Betcher as the top graded linebacker in the country after 4 weeks of playing college football. He has been graded out through the first 3 games at 89.5 in their player impact on the game rankings. So this goes on to not just because Pro Football Focus, their rankings, by the way, they're very misleading because they don't know, they're not taking into account full scheme what guys are actually being asked to do in each certain instance. They just grade based on what they believe the assignment is, the impact that you're making on the game. Betcher is number 1 in the country, though. And this is a guy that was seen as a depth and rotational player throughout his entire career at Oregon, being a walk-on guy who earned his right. And he has turned into one of the best impact players on this entire defense. Hell, on the entire football team for Oregon, offensive or defensively, with the amount of plays that he's made this season.
We were looking at these, I want to say last week, and I was like, hey, Betcher's up here on this list because we were kind of going through the different rankings of defensive players in the old Pac-12 is kind of a joke. And Betcher being up there was a shock, but not really because of what what you've seen from him and kind of what we saw from him last year. Him being good isn't surprising. Him being this good is surprising.
I think a lot of it is stylistically the teams that they've seen in the first 3 games
kind
as well.
Funnels things towards his style of play.
Yeah, because it is even like a run-heavy team, Big Ten style. That plays more into a guy like Justin Jacobs, who the Iowa transfer, and Jeffrey Bassa being dinged up has also added more snaps for Bryce Betcher as well. But in that rotation, when you're playing that downhill style, it does favor those guys being in more than Betcher because he is good in coverage. He is an athlete. I mean, hell, he's a Gold Glove winner as an outfielder for the Oregon baseball team. But with and when you look at stylistically what Idaho, Boise State, and Oregon State, although Oregon State and Boise State are both run-first teams, stylistically, their offenses fit having Betcher in more than they do having your run pluggers in. But he's been really good at both. I mean, hell, the first 2 plays of the Oregon State game kind of signify exactly why Betcher is a good fit stylistically against Oregon State, in that he almost intercepted the very first pass of the game and then knocked down the second pass of the game, right?
He's one of those. It's kind of funny. I was having this discussion with somebody the other day about tweeners in the NBA, and we actually started talking about tweeners in the NFL. What used to be kind of a cursed phrase is actually kind of a celebrated thing now because of the diversity of the game, the stylistically how different certain teams can play.
Yeah.
And that's true in the NBA, the NFL, college football. Everybody says, everybody does the same stuff. Sure, but everybody does it with a different flavor. Some use garlic, some use a little pepper, some will use a little paprika. And the ability to have somebody who can kind of go through all of that, because Betcher's not your, throwback in the middle or even on the edge linebacker, but he's also not somebody who is foreign in space. Yeah. So he's somebody who you saw last year come off the edge and blitzes and be disruptive in the backfield. He's somebody who you like if you have him in a run gap, you're not afraid of him getting absolutely blown up and blown off the ball by a lineman on a pull or something along those lines. And if he's in space, you trust that he can make a play.
That which puts him in a really interesting position because he's a tweener. I mean, this is a guy who was a 13th round draft pick by the Houston Astros this past summer in the Major League Baseball draft, and now he's coming in playing at Oregon and playing at such an incredibly high level that you sit there and you're like,
look at some NFL tape.
But the idea though is where does he play in the NFL? Because he's 6'2", 225 is what he's listed at. I would venture to guess he is probably 225, probably about like program height. He's probably like 6'1" ish.
We've seen so many of those safeties though that have gone to those jack and kind of.
It would have to be a specific position in a specific system.
What was the Simmons, big time linebacker or safety coming out to move down to linebacker? Clemson, yeah, Justin Simmons. Now he obviously failed for other reasons, but. Like you're seeing more of those guys. USC had Taylor Mays was another guy who was in that kind of same vein, who kind of played that in between, and he fizzled out for other reasons.
Like,
I'm saying
you're saying a lot of guys that were drafted really high,
but
haven't really worked out.
Guys that for non-football reasons didn't work out.
I think with Betcher, it's interesting because he is an inside linebacker. He's an interior linebacker. He's only at 225 pounds. You're going to have more lead in your pencil to do that. And he is not quick enough to play in the back end of a defense now, especially with what we're seeing safeties do in the NFL now in coverage. So it would have to be very specific to where he's at. I mean, or you put 20 pounds on him and you say, all right, be that downhill guy.
Play at 240, yeah.
But there could be a team that says, and look, we've seen this before. Guys make careers off of special teams. This is a guy who loves special teams. His thought process on special teams, which he's on almost all of them, is why wouldn't you? It's okay.
You get to play.
You're looking at a guy like Brendan Schooler in New England, who former Oregon player, went to Arizona. They're saying he's going to be the next Slater in New England, like a guy who's going to be there for 15 years, be a special teams just dynamo. Like maybe that is a path that he wants to go. But again, here's the tough spot. Brendan Schooler wasn't drafted in the 13th round of the Major League Baseball draft,
where you can get some guaranteed money that's in your pocket real quick.
It's crazy.
It's interesting because if he does, let's say he is a high level special teams guy, and he gets put on a team, drafted by a team that's like a 3-3-5 team, where he becomes a depth quasi tweener, or a guy that can get out there in situational football.
Third down, he'd be great to play linebacker on third down.
And that's when I kind of wonder, like, is that enough of a draw for him if he continues to have this kind of success this year?
Yeah. I played against a guy in college by the name of Caden Ellis. He's now the starting linebacker with the Falcons. His first couple years in the NFL, because he's kind of built the same way as Bryce. He was a skinnier guy in college, played middle backer, but then he also moved around, and he used his first 2 years to basically be on special teams while he bulked up so that he could bulk up in the right way.
Bulk season, baby.
That could be something that Bryce does as well. Also, I don't know this for a fact, but it's just something that I've created in my own dumb brain.
All right.
Bryce Betcher is the fastest and best cover guy to ever wear a neck roll. No one has worn a neck roll at the middle linebacker position
He wears the
and
butterfly
covered
collar.
better than Bryce Betcher.
Yeah. That's an interesting move.
Vancouver Forge text line says he needs to get rid of the neck roll. I disagree.
Disagree wholeheartedly.
Strong disagree. If you can do both, baby.
Yeah, it's like until it negatively affects you, keep rocking it. Yeah, because it makes him look a lot bigger than 225.
Not only that, those butterfly collars are not like the cowboy collars that we grew up with.
Yeah.
Like that, I could get my arms slightly above my head. The cowboy collar was very, very prohibitive on movement. The butterfly one, not nearly as much.
He's really damn good right now, and he fits Lanning's system perfectly too.
Because
and
they can deploy him a million different ways.
Also, we've seen this with a lot of the guys at Georgia, where I said this when Lanning was hired, and we haven't talked really much about it this season, but Dan Lanning is 53 1/3 with his linebackers, guys that can cover from sideline to sideline. And Betcher does a phenomenal job of that. And look, being graded the highest impact linebacker in the country, it's not too bad. That's a good way to go. That's a really good way to go.
I like it.
What if he went actual neck roll though? like foam
oh,
neck
yeah.
roll. Not get rid of the butterfly collar. You know where they used to attach it like above the
Yeah.
jersey
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Maybe would that be better?
Bo rocked one.
No shirt underneath, jersey rolled up to about belly button. So you see that.
The Bo Jackson.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
yeah.
I think that cowboy collar or the old neck roll used to
Heck
just
yeah.
flop all over the place. I was like,
Dang.
what is the point of that?
All right.
Him and I think Lyle Alzado.
Oh.
Was another one for there.
Boy, you have named a lot of steroid users in this segment.
Yeah.
Like you've just gone down this. Like,
Look,
every name
Latimer?
that's come out of your mouth has
Latimer?
been a steroid guy.
Yeah. Guess what, man? Neck rolls, steroids. They go together.
Latimer never tested positive for steroids. I just want that out there. He was only assumed.
Look, I was a guy that wore.
Assumed. I seen the video of him in the bathroom stall. Will.
Show me the positive test, Dusty.
Here, I'll give you one.
All right. True.
I took steroids
got
and
me.
I wore a neck roll. Like
got
they go hand in hand.
Yeah, and that was just in everyday life. Danny was just doing that, walking down the street wearing a neck roll for protection. You never knew.
You never knew,
You
man.
never knew. You never
Terry
knew.
Tate, man, he inspired a lot.
You never knew. All right, Pirates are scumbags next on the Fan.
Oregon Ducks football is on the
I was a fan of an NL Central team, sure.
Now, this is even more like this is along the lines of the Oakland A's bad. Okay. Like Oakland A's, we go John J. Fisher. You're screwing over your team and your fan base. Another team that has phenomenal uniforms, a classic brand,
A
Pittsburgh
beautiful
Pirates.
baseball stadium.
With one of the best.
Yeah.
John J. Fisher would love to field a loser in that ballpark. Tell you what.
Right?
He would love to field a loser there. And a team that has giant statues. Remember that story?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. The Pirates, they make gigantic statues. Just the opposite of what the 76ers do just across the state in Pennsylvania there, where they have tiny statues. The Roberto Clemente statue is enormous. How tall is that thing? Roberto Clemente. Clemente Day statue is height. It is 12 feet tall. That's a good statue.
Yeah, that's not an Allen Iverson statue.
Yeah, you need to get yourself a 12-foot statue.
It's not a school for ants.
No. It's like twice the size of Roberto Clemente. They're like, damn, he was big. No wonder he was so good.
And look, the Pirates, even all of their alternate looks are good.
They're great.
Like it's just a great Pittsburgh cornered the market on yellow and black.
Yeah, and a song too. Well, they really screwed this one up because not only does this guy have a great name, he's got the build that fits his name. Rowdy Tellez was their first baseman. Okay.
And he's as rowdy as you think he is.
He is a bundle of joy. He's festively plump, large man, got a great beard. He just looks very Pittsburgh. He was DFA'd, designated for assignment, the other day. And the reason why is absolutely ridiculous. He was set a $200,000 bonus if he reached 425 plate appearances this season. On Tuesday, when he was DFA'd, he had 421 plate appearances on the season. It was right after the team had been officially eliminated from playoff contention, and so they DFA'd him and did not give him his 425 plate appearances.
Yes.
For $200,000.
Yeah, and their general manager, Ben Cherington, told reporters earlier that it had absolutely nothing to do with his bonus.
It did.
Up.
It had everything to do with his bonus.
Shut up. Just you shouldn't even take questions on it because everything you say is a lie.
Yeah.
And because every single team in every single sport, NBA, MLB, NFL, everyone knows likely, unlikely metrics, all of them. Mo Harkless had the worst kept secret in the NBA.
He didn't shoot
He
for
didn't
a month.
shoot for a month.
That rocks.
Which is great.
It was insane.
It was great.
Draymond Green was yelling, just don't cover him because he's not going to shoot.
And we all knew because he had, what was the percentage?
37%.
37% from three. And he was like at 37.5, wasn't he?
It was like 37.2.
Really?
He shot, I want to say I did the math on this one time. I think he shot like 4 threes over the final 2.5 or 3 weeks. It was like, there were ones where no one was around and he had to shoot it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God. But it wasn't. So everyone knows. Everyone knows these things. For them to pretend that wasn't the case, and this is them just being cheap. Good organizations, when this stuff happens, when this stuff is close, remember your despicable franchise, the Patriots, Tom Brady made sure Gronk had one more catch in a game that did not matter.
Yeah, it's a dirty secret about the NFL is that you'll have players at the end of the season, quarterbacks will go into the huddle and be like, "Hey, anybody need what do we need here?" And they will pump the ball to players who need
their
that
bonuses,
contract
because
bump.
it's $1 million or it's $800,000, $200,000 for 4 more plate appearances. Insane.
This is where I think that their GM even speaking about anything misses the mark because he was asked about hey, is this the reason why you did it? And he was like, no, absolutely not. There's zero factor in that. And then he was also asked, do you think that this is going to affect you guys trying to get free agents in the future? And he said, no, I'm not concerned. If you're asking me about the optics going forward and how it affects the business and things like that, no. Contracts are negotiated in good faith, then they live out. Do they live out?
Do they?
We feel like we gave Rowdy lots of opportunity here this year. To his credit, he fought through some difficult times earlier in the year and fought his way out of it, had periods of success and periods of frustration. This was just where we got to in the season. Had nothing to do with where the plate appearances were lining
Why
up.
would you DFA a guy 3 days left in the season?
Bring those young guys up, bro.
What are you doing? What gain is there? Tell me, what strategic thing are you doing that you are accomplishing where somebody gets 8 plate appearances?
Yeah.
That's proprietary.
Yeah,
Danny.
That's exactly what that sounds like. It sounds like somebody who's a terrible human being.
Yeah. All right. Well, was he bad? No.
He's slightly below average.
2, 4, 6. He was 7th in batting average.
He was
for them
4th
this
in
year.
home runs.
4th in home runs. And he was
3rd in RBI.
3rd in RBI on the season. I mean,
What
it
again?
seems
What
like a
the hell is
financial
the
move.
point of DFAing a guy with 3 days left
he
in the
was
season?
4th on the roster in total bases on the season too.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. A guy who's very clearly in your top 5 most productive players in the season, they very, very, very often get DFA'd and with 3 days left in the season and a financial bonus on the line.
All right. Well, maybe he was
Unreal.
really slumping. Oh no! In August he hit 300. In July he hit 297. In June he hit 333. He slumped early,
And then he came on late.
and then he came on late. What he was 1 for 5 in the month of September, but, or no, he was. Excuse me, that's wrong. He was not 1 for 5. He was 5 for 43 in September. He was not hitting well in September, but you were eliminated from postseason contention. You just wanted to save yourself.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what point does this serve?
Yeah,
You're not getting
he scored
like,
1 run.
like you're not getting anything out of this other than saving money.
Yeah.
Just say if you're gonna look.
If you're gonna be scummy,
Just
don't.
say it with your chest.
Yeah.
Say that you're a scumbag franchise.
Yeah, man.
John Fisher,
That's a bummer,
for
dude.
for what it is, has fully embraced the fact that he's a scumbag.
Yeah, I think they should have said the quiet part out loud too, which is we're not going to sign anybody in free agency anyways.
Yes. Go full White Sox with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Like baseball is so littered with terrible ownership, and it's not even like drawing a line of like, they're mildly cheap. It's, oh my God, this is egregious. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And look, baseball has done a great job the last couple of years of reinventing the game and speeding it up and getting more people involved and like doing things that impact the game. They need to get these guys out. They need to get them out.
they do.
They need to find. They need to go hire Baxter Holmes from ESPN and have him go find dirt on these guys.
There is one common denominator that is plaguing baseball and continues to plague baseball, and it is the poor ownership in Oakland, in Cincinnati,
Chicago,
in Pittsburgh, in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago.
Miami.
I mean, it is. You want to wonder why you're not more popular? I mean,
Arizona.
come on.
I mean, how many good owners are there in baseball?
Well, there
there's
aren't
good
any
owners
up
out
north.
win. Yeah, Seattle. Hey, Seattle. Yeah, it's a big problem.
It's tough.
It's a big problem.
Tough.
It's hard in the streets.
Look, I had a different worst day on the web, but some breaking news out of Los Angeles is going to make us do a little bit of a shift. UCLA's baseball program has been thrown off their field and barred by a judge for failure to take care of a legal precedent that has been a long time coming as it pertains to veteran care. We'll get to that and more coming up here on Danny and Dusty. First, here's Big Will Betts, the Sports Center Update.
fan.
Man, that sucks!
An interesting story from the LA Times came across my timeline about an hour ago, and the headline was pretty astronomical. UCLA baseball loses its baseball field. I was like, that's interesting. I wonder what's going on there.
Not great.
They were being locked down. It says, for now, in a lawsuit over its use of veteran land. And I went, oh, let's take a look at this. It turns out that a 388-acre parcel of land in West Los Angeles has been, for over 100 years, divvied up, split out, and taken advantage of by multiple entities, including 2 schools and an oil drilling facility, rig, whatever you want to call it, for land that was originally designated as a full-time home for disabled veterans, dating back to 1888.
Oh,
Yes.
1888.
A land deed from 1888.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So there's a lot to this. U.S. federal judge David Carter is my new hero for the time being.
All right.
Because what he has laid down is absolutely incredible. So this is apparently the UCLA chancellor, Darnell Hunt, has been kind of avoiding these meetings. And the judge basically said, if this dude doesn't show up, I'm going to lock everyone out. I'm going to put a cordon around the entire thing, and you won't be able to get anywhere near it.
Yeah, and this has been a long time coming. This is this first came to the Department of Veteran Affairs misuse of the land in 2013.
That's 11 years.
Now, that was, when we think about it, that was 32 years after they built Jackie Robinson Stadium. Jackie Robinson Stadium has been on this land since 1981, okay, when they built the stadium. 32 years later, this court case is uncovered where they're sitting there going, wait a minute, this land wasn't supposed to be given to UCLA to build a baseball stadium.
And from what it sounds like, from the cursory research I have, it was some backroom dealings of, hey, let me, I'll grease your hand, you'll grease mine, and we'll all come out ahead of this. And who gets screwed over?
Yeah.
The veterans. And the chancellor for UCLA showed up apparently late last night, 7 p.m., and tried to kind of, hey, I'm here. Ah.
Oh, wait, he was serious.
Yeah, no, he's serious. And the judge said, nah, dog, too late. And UCLA is now barred from those facilities. He has sat down lawyers for the Veterans Affairs, from UCLA, from the Brentwood School, and from the oil company, and basically told them all, if you don't come up with a plan for this 388-acre parcel of land where it predominantly factors into the well-being of disabled veterans, kiss the land goodbye.
Yeah. And it should be noted that they have the West Los Angeles Veteran Affairs Medical Center is right next to the stadium.
Yes.
It's a large plot of land. But what the big issue here is that the intentions when they built the stadium on this land were that, all right, what else are we going to do here?
Yes.
There's going to be a boost to the veterans. Nobody was displaced by this.
No, because they never had the facility up to begin with.
But no, and this is where it's the hairy part of this whole situation, is that at the time that it was built, the land was not in use. It had been vacant for several years. And then they said, okay, well, as you mentioned,
1888.
1888 is when this piece of land, parcel of land, was set aside. And so at that point, it became, all right, we've gone almost 100 years now without using this land. You guys can build a baseball stadium on it. Well, now we are seeing that the Department of Veteran Affairs is starting to take things more seriously now than they did. I don't know, 43 years ago when they gave them this land to build on. And they're saying, well, we now need the space for it. And the judge came over the top in 2013 and said, in a ruling back in 2013, said, all right, we're going to stop short of ordering you off the property. But they did leave it open that if in the future that land does need to be used, this could become a problem for UCLA. So this is not something where, like, the chancellor, who's been avoiding these court proceedings, This isn't like it's not something that hasn't been on his radar, because we've been sitting here for a decade now
Trying to work through this.
of this could be an issue that you're going to have to be ready for, and they were just trying to avoid it at all costs.
Yes. The interesting thing here, the Brentwood School,
Dang.
they are represented by an attorney named Lewis Skip Miller. He said that they proposed giving back 5 acres of its 22-acre lease for housing.
Oh.
Which, that's awful generous of them. The judge then came out and said he was not going to accept a trade-off of 5 acres for 17, causing Miller to apologize if he had created the impression that the land was the school's to give back.
All right.
So basically, this judge has been in there smacking lawyers around for the past couple of days saying, no, you're failing to understand the situation, gentlemen. It's not your land.
You want to know something about the Brentwood School?
Hmm.
Good Lord. For K through 5,
Mhm.
it is $45,000 per year to go to school at the Brentwood School. For 6 through 12, $53,300 per year to go to school. Wherever will they go? What will they do without that? Their enrollment right now is 1,200.
So it's the most prestigious freaking
Yeah.
school in West LA.
Go to public school.
Notable alumni
Unbelievable.
include Andrew Breitbart.
The Breitbart news guy.
That's right. David Frost, baseball executive. Goodness gracious. This is a very long. Jennifer Grant. Jonah Hill went there. Jonah Hill. Super bad.
Not the same high school as he played, I would
mm-mm.
imagine.
No. The entire band of Maroon 5.
Wow.
Is that where they met each other?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
So they're all
Oh,
rich kids.
Fred and Ben Savage went there. Catherine Schwarzenegger, Patrick Schwarzenegger. Yeah, there's a lot of
Super hoity-toity,
yeah,
big money.
yeah,
Did
big
the
time money.
Maid's kid go there?
I mean, everyone.
Oh, come on, he went to
Yeah.
public school.
I mean, the money there, that's more than any, public university yearly fee.
It's very expensive to go to
It's
school
insane.
there.
So basically, the judges said, "We'll fill your kind of said." He said, "We will fill your pool with sand
I would love to see that.
to make sure you can't use it."
I would love to see that. And then they get it from a beach, and then the judge gets sued, and then we just get more lawsuits there. That'd be perfect. Yeah, Brentwood School, man.
There's also the Bridgeland Resources LLC, which is the oil drilling operation on the east side of the campus. Remember, La Brea Tar Pits Oil, that's actually in LA. Weird thing. But the judge also rejected the proposal by the attorney, Ernest Guadiana, to swap an acre and a half of its property and increase royalties from 2.5% up to 5.5% based on the price of oil.
Oh. So what I'm gathering here is tuition is going up at the Brentwood School. The oil's about to get more expensive, and UCLA baseball tickets about to get way more expensive.
Here's something that's really interesting, too. The judge said, "Oh, that's interesting. You want to give us a 3% increase?" Carter demanded that Bridgeland offer 51% of its gross revenue from the wells.
Yes, let's go.
Because
Support
guess
the
what?
troops. Let's go.
They're making money on land that isn't theirs.
This is going to be wild.
He says, Guadiana said, "Do I hear 51%? That figure would put the operation out of business." Well, you're operating on land that isn't yours, and you've made profits for 100 years or longer. Sorry.
Wait, they've been there for 100 years?
The oil, maybe not this company, but some version of the oil well has been there for a while.
Golly.
But the more I go into this, the more this judge is my hero.
Yeah, this is great.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic, because what all three of these entities, what are they going to do? They're going to figure it out
I think
because,
they'll find a baseball stadium somewhere in L.A.
well, no,
I think they can do that.
I don't even think they're going to do that. I think they're going to figure this out, and significant portions of proceeds and money is going to go back to Veterans Affairs.
Yeah, as it should.
And the reason why is, how much unused land is there in the LA metro area?
Not a lot, especially in Brentwood. It's a very valuable piece of land that they're getting there.
Where are they going to go?
Mm.
Nowhere. And what they're going to do is,
Yeah, you can't have the Brentwood School not in Brentwood.
yeah. So they're going to figure
The
out,
Brentwood School of Hollywood.
yeah, those teachers that have like probably $1 million salaries won't be having those anymore.
All right.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
Funnel that money to disabled veterans, man.
Let's go.
I could not love this anymore.
It's awesome.
I could not love this anymore.
And
shout out this judge, man.
It does fit UCLA acclimating themselves to Big Ten life, right? Like Big Ten doesn't care about baseball, so just you're out.
Yeah, back it up.
And they will have the smallest. It's a very small baseball stadium too.
To begin with,
it's only 1,800 seats. Like they didn't take like a large portion of this land.
No.
They took UCLA's baseball took a very small portion of it, but
they
also
knew
have
this
was coming.
A 10-acre training facility and everything else that kind of goes with it.
All right,
it's like oops.
Let's go.
So this is a story that I'm going to keep in my back pocket and kind of follow along with because I want to see where this ends up.
I love the oil company being like, well, what are we ever going to do?
Yeah, we'll give you 3% more.
No.
It's like, no, dog, you're actually going to give us 48% more.
That's great.
That's such a... Mwah!
I see your 3% and I raise you 48% more.
That's just fantastic stuff. Love every bit of it. Like I said, I hope this judge doesn't like come out like with hookers and blow kind of a deal, but it's like
probably will.
Probably will.
Yeah.
But right now, my hero.
Yeah. What I mean, and you also got to think though, what is this oil company going to do to that land, and how usable is that land after drilling on it for
like 80 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
probably not going to be the best place to live.
Well, what? Keep it in LA and talk about more news in the weird world of transfer portals.
Ooh, yeah, let's do it.
Well, there's a transfer portal, or at least a red shirt news coming from a former 5-star recruit out of USC, and the disruption that is going to cause and the ripple effect that this may have throughout college football. That and more here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. cut his season short and take a redshirt year with the Trojans.
Bum, bum, bum. NIL?
There was an
No.
issue back and forth about where he was going to be in the depth chart earlier this summer, or I should say this in the spring, where he was going to enter the transfer portal and did not.
Yeah, and look, Bear Alexander, this should not be a surprise to anybody because Bear Alexander was going to transfer earlier in the offseason. He also is a transfer king. He went to 4 different high schools in 4 years.
And committed and decommitted to Georgia before decommitting and committing back to USC and then came back again. So the man hops around.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been around a time or two.
And again, he is a 5-star talent. He is a very, very, very talented player. But this is the horror, case that you hear about, whether it's Jaden Rashado or Bear Alexander or whoever else is just quite literally chasing money. There are plenty of guys who are, their sole purpose in life is just chasing NIL money.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And like this guy is, so prior to this year, he'd gone to 6 schools in 6 years. 2022, enrolled at University of Georgia, played with the Bulldogs as a freshman, transferred to USC in April of 2023. Prior to that, he played at Skyline High School, IMG Academy, Ryan High School, Terrell High School.
And those are all like cream of the crop schools.
He went 6 schools in 6 years. That is crazy.
That's insane.
And now he'll be on 7 in 8 years. So, and look, I don't know if he's done yet. we don't.
There's nothing to stop him.
We don't know if he's done yet. Transferring.
There's nothing there to stop him.
He could go 8 for 9. And there are just some guys who are bounce around guys. Maybe they're getting bad advice. Maybe they've just been fed something their entire life telling them how great they are. For the idea that this is some indictment on USC, I don't think that it is because of what we've outlined with Bear Alexander and his jumping around. But what it does is it says that USC takes a hit to their depth.
And it's a spot that that particular position group is the one that was their one like, we're a little thin there.
You are thin on the defensive line. We saw it against Michigan just last week.
Anthony Lucas is banged up, and you're like,
he played a lot of snaps against Michigan as well. And that's where this one kind of hurts is that, look, we've talked about this. USC has bolstered their defense on every level, and they have bolstered both of their offensive and defensive lines this year.
But
they have looked a lot better. They are not deep.
No.
They are not deep by any stretch of the imagination. And today, Lincoln Riley refused to take questions on it. And what was interesting, this popped up yesterday, Bear Alexander's transfer, yesterday at evening. Lincoln Riley was asked about Bear Alexander on Tuesday afternoon, and this was his answer.
He played over a third of the game, so I mean, people want to act like the guy's not playing snaps. He's doing a good job for us out here. He's getting better. There's no story there. I mean, I know you guys are looking for one. Like, there's no story there. The guy's out here working hard. He's improving. He's in a new system with a new coach. He's getting better. I think he's going to continue to get better. It should be hard to play D-line at USC. Like, it ought to be kind of hard. Like, if it's not, it wasn't hard last year, and that's why we weren't very good up there. You know what? We're pretty decent up there, and it's hard, and the margins are thin. So sometimes it's not what somebody's not doing. It's competitive, and there's tough decisions to make every week. But if you see guys out on the field, then we are excited about what they're doing on the practice field and believe that they give us a chance to win. Go look at the last snap of the game, see who's on the field. And so there's no story there. Guy's getting better. He needs to keep improving, and I'm confident that he will with the coaching that he has and the room that we have in there.
There is a story there.
There is a story there. And look, clearly a reporter in L.A. had a line to Bear Alexander's agent because here's the thing. I said to you, was it Monday? It was either Monday or Tuesday. Bear Alexander was walking out to the field. And I was like, God, Bear is a huge dude. Because they have their little trip from the locker room across the street to the practice facility. And I was like, man. And he did go through practice. And he did look good. And like everybody was talking about how great Bear looked. So there's a lot of stuff here, man, where it's like
there is more to Bear Alexander's story.
Yeah, it's a mess, and this is obviously a USC isolated incident with it as it pertains to Bear Alexander, but this also highlights what we talked about yesterday with Matthew Sluka, and I wonder, look, this was happening around college football already, but it wasn't happening with guys who impact your roster. Like, it wasn't your starting quarterback or a guy who could be on your starting defensive line. It was the third or fourth running back. It was the sixth DB. It's your fifth wide receiver. Guys who, a coach said, hey, if you come here, we'll get you some opportunities, and they got you into camp, and you just couldn't hang it. You couldn't hack. Those guys did do this, and they have done that for the last 2 years. This is a change. This whole, like, I'm not getting mine at the highest of high levels. I'm out.
I think that this is a unique situation, though.
You think so?
Guy's gone to
6 schools.
6 schools in 6 years.
But on the heels of Sluka, though, I do kind of raise an eyebrow of, like, does this become not a landmark case, but, like, is this? And it's not going to be run rampant.
I mean, these two are separate issues. I mean,
they are 100%.
This isn't an NIL situation. This is a guy who's addicted to transferring, who knows what's going on behind the scenes in his home life, where he's getting the direction that, this is going to be the good option for you. Because I could tell you right now, it's going to be a red flag for whoever picks him up, because first red flag, you left Georgia. Second red flag is you left USC because you were getting playing time, and you got playing time at both of those places, right? This is not it's the place you are. This becomes a you problem. And it also opens up the, Lincoln Riley's adversarial approach to the media and saying this is a non-story. There's nothing to talk about here. Well, obviously there was. And he's got to figure that part out. Like, he got out of his own way with the defense. That was a massive step forward.
And then I never thought he would.
Now it is, you've got to get out of your own way with the media, because that's the thing, that there's plenty of ways that you can shoot that down without saying that this is a non-story. You guys are digging, when obviously the reporter knew there was a story here.
That's why he asked.
Yeah.
And now you look like an idiot.
You sit there and you say he played great snaps for us against Michigan. His plan for us is to continue to be in our rotation, be a significant part of what we do. And then you can just say, that's it right there. Then it becomes on him to say, there's no story here. What are you guys fishing for? Well, this.
Yeah.
Like this.
Clearly somebody was talking to an agent.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a great day of practice yesterday. He had a great day of practice today. He's been in our rotation, will continue to be in our rotation. Then he decides to leave, that's on him.
It's tough.
Yep, it's tough.
It's a terrible spot to be in. You know what's not a terrible spot to be in?
But
heading into football.
Week 4.
It's pick time coming up here in hour number 3 on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. watching along on youtube.com/1080am the fan or twitch.tv/1080am the fan. We appreciate you. We love you. But it's that time, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. No Jeff Rust, but we have his picks from last week. And
He was red hot.
Jeff Rust.
3-1
smoking.
Rust.
He now leads the pack at 8-4.
All right. Way to go, Rusty.
Dusty and I both tied at 6-6. We both sucked last week.
Yeah, it was 1-3 week. It was not good, Bob.
Not great. Well, normally we'd give the nod to Rust here, but Rust is not here. So
well, we can give him his picks.
It's true. We do have his picks. You want to make his picks for him?
I'll just give you Jeff Rust picks. He went 3-1 last week.
He did.
He did fantastic. His only loss was he had the Patriots covering against the Jets, which that's a fool's choice right there. He has the Pittsburgh Steelers -1.5 at Indianapolis as his first pick. Philadelphia, he's going to take the Buccaneers at home +1.5.
It's an interesting line.
It's sneaky. It's sneaky line there. Buccaneers. Bucky Irving apparently dinged up a little bit. We'll see how he goes. He has a road favorite, the Kansas City Chiefs, -7 at the Chargers, which everybody's hurt there. And then Jacksonville, his Jaguars, which he does pick every week. He's taking Houston -6.5 at home.
Which is interesting
against the
because Houston's
Jaguars.
reporting quite a few injuries.
Quite a few injuries.
Including
and
Nico Collins, who just got put on a limited participant because of a hamstring.
a desperate Jags team.
Yeah, if you go 0-4, yikes, dog.
Everybody fired there.
All right,
So
well-
there's Russ picks.
All right, well, let's start with yours then. What do you got?
All right, my first pick, I will go. Well, I didn't have it up because I was having to send.
No.
Okay, I got it.
You got it?
Yep. Bengals -4.5 at Carolina. They got a bump with Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, last week, taking on your Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, you almost said Oakland.
Oh, I did almost say Oakland.
It's
But
okay, I still say LA. So
you want to have a desperate team. Cincy is desperate right now.
Oh, God, yeah.
They are going to try to send a message. Things started to look right and normal with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow.
offense is purring.
I think that the Panthers' offense ain't going to purr for a second straight week. Give me Cincy.
Yep. No, sir.
Meow.
Hey, Sir Purr, not going to matter. I'm also going to tell you on that same line. I think that might be the safest line in the NFL this week. The Bengals -4.5 on the road at the Panthers.
Oh, all right.
I think it's the only one we have that's the same. I think. No, we have one other. We have one other to
We
say.
got one other?
Yeah.
All right, my second pick, I'm going the Arizona Cardinals -3.5 at home against the Commanders.
I almost went the other way on that one.
I like, and I've been saying this, I'm picking up what the Cardinals are putting down. Even though they are just 1-2. Their two losses are to the Bills and the Lions, and they've been in both of those games.
Both really good teams.
Yeah, and they've been in them near the end. Marvin Harrison Jr. is starting to wake up. I'm gonna stick with the Cards. I'm gonna ride with the Cards in this one against the Washington Commanders, which are not complete. And Jaden Daniels has been playing really damn well. Really damn well.
Austin Eckler out with a concussion.
Austin Eckler out
Which-
with a concussion.
You can say Austin Eckler out, and you can just kind of stop there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Bears -3 taking on the Rams. The Rams have no one.
Ran it.
No one.
They won't.
the-
They didn't have anyone last week either.
Apparently, neither did the 49ers. I think Caleb Williams and the Bears are starting to figure some stuff out. Caleb Williams himself is starting to figure some stuff out. They're still not on the same page all the time. But defensively, they're real good. And offensively, they're starting to find it. And I just don't think you can ask Matthew Stafford to work miracles every single week.
Yep. All right. My third game I got the Vikings +3 in Green Bay against the Packers. Okay. Malik Willis looked amazing for Malik Willis against the Tennessee Titans. What has Brock Purdy and CJ Stroud both said when they got done with their games playing against the Minnesota Vikings?
They had our head in knots.
Okay. I don't care if Jordan Love comes back. If he's limited with an MCL sprain that he suffered a couple of weeks ago, he is going to have fits because of the Vikings defense. If it's Malik Willis, I don't know if they score.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Minnesota +3 on the road as a favorite. They are road dogs.
Yeah.
Road dogs. Yes.
This is the other pick that I am going to match you on. The
Yeah.
Vikings +3 felt like the second best pick of the week for basically everything you just mentioned.
Yeah.
The Vikings are dinged up a little bit, but they have their quarterback. And Sam Darnold has been dealing.
Yep.
What you get for your last pick?
I'm going over 42 points, Falcons, Saints. I mean, we've had 2 games where New Orleans has scored
a bajillion.
40 or more points. Yeah. And I'm not entirely sold on the Falcons defense. So I am going to go with a Points of Palooza. We saw points again in the NFL
42
this past
seems
week.
like a low number for this matchup. It really does.
Really does.
The other game you had...
I think it's being brought down because this past week, New Orleans played an actual defense, not the Dallas Cowboys. They played the Philadelphia Eagles and only scored 12. I'm going to trust the process. I'm trusting the process.
Yeah, I think the over hits here pretty simply because you just kind of look at where things are at. The game you originally went with was what? The Patriots game?
Yeah, and it was
under 40?
40 and a half, but I just don't know who's going to play in that game.
Yeah.
That's scary to me because I could see San Francisco scoring like 50
by themselves.
Yeah, and just hitting on their own. But I could also see the Patriots defense playing a banged up San Francisco offense and slowing them down, and that game being like 3-0.
It'll be ugly. And, you know, Lynch and Shanahan are just going to want to get out there healthy with a win.
Yep.
It's not about style points.
Yeah.
My last pick, the Bills.
Oh.
Maybe the best team in football this year.
Buffalo.
Are road dogs plus 2.5 at the Ravens. How? It's not one of those things where you're like, well, the weather might be bad. The Bills are. There's 2 teams in the NFL that are built around playing in bad weather. It is the Green Bay Packers and it is the Buffalo Bills. There's no like, well, they might have to travel and play somewhere rough or tough weather. There's nobody else is more built for this as franchises than those 2 teams. So the idea that the Bills on the road are going to be road dogs against a Ravens team that has not looked great is pretty surprising.
I don't know. They lost. Okay.
I looked at the injury report and I went,
They lost, Bernard, the starting linebacker. So you have more attrition at linebacker. You lose a tackle in Grable, Tylen Grable.
Sure.
You lost a corner in Taron Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I still don't know why, because the name I didn't say was Josh Allen.
His arm didn't fall off. His legs still work.
Yeah, I don't know. That's too stinky of a line for me, though. Deion Dawkins still playing. I don't know.
But if you're giving me
It
the
stinks.
Bills, listen,
It stinks.
if you're giving me the Bills and any points against any team not named the Chiefs, I'm taking it.
That tells me Las Vegas, Nevada.
They know something.
They know something's up here. And
but
I don't like it.
So on a lot of these stinky lines early in the season, Vegas has had to eat their shorts.
Yeah. Well, they've been crushing everybody betting the big lines.
The big favorites, yeah.
Because underdogs in 6.5 point lines
Covering,
are
baby.
like 14-2 or 11-2, 11-2 so far.
Yeah, I refuse to go anywhere near the. Last year we had those big lines that became like, oh yeah, no, these are kind of gimmies.
Yeah.
This year I'm going nowhere near them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't trust it. But I'm with you on that. It seems like a no-brainer of a line to take, but I just didn't. I didn't trust it. I didn't trust it.
I'm the big mouth bass that's going to hit that bait. Looks too tasty. That power bait,
I'll eat it.
I'm going to eat it. All right, that's our picks for this week. Stone cold lead pipe locks.
Hopefully better than last week.
Hopefully. I mean, you almost can't mathematically do worse. Coming next, we're going to do a little bit of a hot route because Memphis's AD got up and got spicy about a potential move to the Pac-12 and why it fell apart. That and more coming up next year on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
See
It's going to be a rough couple of days for the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Just recently, as we were heading to our last break, I should say the break before last, Memphis's AD was holding a press conference, and he may have added the people's elbow to the everybody else currently kicking the crap out of the Pac-12 and what they're doing and or not doing.
Yeah, Memphis AD Ed Scott did not hold back, and this was to a message for the fans, right? Because I think we need to give a little background on what's going on with all these schools around the country that have either rebuffed the Pac-12 or like UNLV, where there is a section of their fan base that was pretty upset that they didn't jump on the opportunity to go to the Pac-12 and instead opted to stay in the Mountain West for $25 to $30 million. And it is because of, for UNLV, it's leverage in knowing you have a place to go. No matter, full stop. Like, if the Mountain West survives, you get a lion's share of the money that conference will generate moving forward. That's a good thing for you. If you are, the Pac-12 is never going to get Power 5 status again. The Power Conference status is gone for the Pac-12.
That seat at the table, they took that chair and they put it in the wood chipper.
Because the Autonomous Four are now the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, and Big 12. Mm-hmm. That's not going to change unless the ACC dissolves. And then, all of a sudden, the Big 10, Big 12, and SEC get more powerful.
This is the power vacuum we're talking about. And who's going to soak up that space? And it's always going to be them.
Yeah. So the UNLV is going, fine, we'll be the king of the kids table then. And we're going to go ahead and we'll stay in the Mountain West.
We'll find the biggest kids table.
And basically, we'll get more money than anybody else instead of sharing it equally. Memphis, in their fan base, like, why wouldn't you do this? Because it's more money than you'd be getting from the American Athletic Conference. And so he's having to step forward and say, well, let's pump the brakes on whether or not this is actually a good deal or not for us.
A lot of folks, and some of you in the media, candidly, want us to go to be great, and sometimes you got to be great to go, right? And so when I hear people say, I'm not going to buy tickets, I'm not going to support the programs, you're not really hurting me. You're hurting the student athletes, right? And you're hurting the people that are on the field playing. And that's really, really important for me. So where does this go? If y'all haven't seen the latest reports of what's going on between the Mountain West and the Pac-6, 7 right now, this is a fluid situation, right? So that's the other thing. When we talk about the decision that was made by the University of Memphis to not join the Pac, as I like to call them right now at this time, that was not a binary decision. That was not a, no, we're not ever going anywhere. That was based on the offer that was presented in front of us, that we're not taking that offer because we don't think less of ourselves. And I came here for a reason. You heard me in the press conference. You've heard me in any interview I've done. I'm bullish on Memphis's future. And so I think sometimes we get enamored by the new and we want to take a bad deal. And that deal was not a good deal for the University of Memphis. It certainly wasn't a good deal for our athletic department. And most importantly, it was a really, really bad deal for our Olympic sport.
Wow. So number one, he said it was a bad deal, which means I would imagine he's talking about financially.
Yep.
That last line, it being a bad deal for their Olympic sports.
That's exactly what I said. It didn't make sense about Memphis and Tulane in the first place.
It's a lot of travel.
Because they would have to be coming out to the West Coast all the time.
All the time. They'd have one trip that was close between each other. That's it.
It never made sense.
No, this is Cal Stanford in the ACC with significantly less money.
Yeah. It just did not, it didn't calculate, it didn't compute. And you heard him right there say it was a bad deal. He just said it's a bad deal. It's not worth it to take a nominal gain in your finances if you're Memphis and say,
we're going to
go ahead and have all of our sports play this. It just doesn't make sense. And this is also Memphis signaling that maybe the Pac-12 isn't the only conference that's kicking the tires on them. Maybe the Big 12 is. Maybe the ACC, which is easier travel for Memphis than coming out west, is exploring them as an opportunity if they lose their lawsuits as well to Florida State and Clemson and they need to backfill their universities. They would do it with Memphis because there's a reason why the Pac-12 was bullish on Memphis is because they knew it was the biggest brand of the ones that are remaining. And so you go and you try to say, all right, well, shoot, instead of taking a seat at the Pac-12's table, which is a non-power conference, maybe we take a seat at the ACC's, which if they only lose Clemson and Florida State, doubtful. But if they only lose, they still keep their power status because they would have North Carolina, Duke, Virginia, Miami still on board. So I also, again, doubtful that would happen. But at the same token,
it's the same thing that UNLV is doing, which is there's no reason for you to go anywhere. You're wanted by multiple parties. Post up and chill and take the best possible deal.
Every other school in that conference in the ACC would not be taken by the Big Ten or the SEC. No. And so if you're going to have a lesser value than what the Big Ten and the SEC are getting, well, in the Big 12, well, then you go and you join the ACC where it's more regionalized and it's closer to you. And you still would get the bump that you're not getting from the American. That all kind of makes sense. It all kind of makes sense. And it's why Memphis didn't jump to the Pac. And the shot that he took at, have you all seen what's going on between the Mountain West and the Pac? That's not a good spot. He started that with it felt like it was like they didn't give us any reason to be going.
No.
Whatsoever.
Which again,
this is the big confusion about
holy
why.
Crap, Pac-12.
Which is why did you announce that you were taking those 4 schools when you did? If you didn't have the others lined up and not just lined up, but signed, sealed, and delivered.
Keep it quiet, move in the shadows, then pounce.
Like every other conference that has survived has done, like the Big Ten did to the Pac-12, like the Big 12 did to the Pac-12.
Where you had schools in your own conference who were like, no, we're committed. Meanwhile, they were already committed somewhere else.
Yeah.
This is Game of Thrones, and you know what the Pac-12 is? It's the Stark family.
Oh. Yeah.
Just belligerent of what's actually going on.
They kind of win at the end, though.
Do they? I feel like everyone loses in the end.
Well, Bran gets to be king.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Crippled.
Here
He's
we go.
a Stark.
Oh, boy.
So now Washington State or Oregon State wins a championship, but they're in a 7-team league.
Yeah.
Same thing. Life imitates art.
And they're crippled.
Who's the zombie?
All right.
And
All right.
becomes
I'm
a
not
part
going.
of a tree.
I'm not going. One thing I do know is that the Big Ten and the SEC are Thanos. And they just said,
They just snapped their fingers and said, see ya.
half of you dead.
There you go. I like it. I want to go dealer's choice here. You want to go college football or you want to go that turd burger of a Thursday night game?
College football?
All right, let's get some college football coming up next year. But first, here's Big Will Betts, the Sports Zone Update. no one but just the truest of sickos interested in. It's kind of funny, a New York and Dallas matchup with big major markets, and boy, is that going to be nasty.
Well, there's intrigue because this is
Everybody loves a good train wreck.
the biggest panic meter Week 4 game of all time.
And it's not for the Giants; it's panic for the Cowboys.
I think it could be for the Giants too. If the Cowboys finally find their stride and they play functionally, and the Giants get blown out, the world will fall. Brian Daboll's the worst coach ever. Daniel Jones will need to take a raft up the East River, and their world crumbles. If the Cowboys lose this game to Daniel Jones and the New York Giants, it's going to be theater to watch Twitter meltdown, and I'm here for all of it.
That's fair.
I mean, outside of that, not a game that really gets me going between the Giants and the Cowboys, but it'll get a huge number because it's the Giants and the Cowboys. It's the NFC East, man. College football is way more interesting this week.
Look, there's the big matchup, which we'll get to in just a second, which is Georgia-Alabama. That's the top 5 matchup. That's the matchup of the weekend. But you have what is it? I think it's 5? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 25 matchups. So
not all top 25 matchups are created equally.
No, but again, I'm saying you have 20 of the 25 of the top 25 playing each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a hell of a college football slate.
It's a great weekend in college football in that regard. And then you have some intriguing matchups, too, that are non-top 25 games. Like, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Central Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Gus Malzahn and crew, they have been running the hell out of the ball. Have you seen what they do to teams? They're rushing for like 375 yards a game.
They look at a service academy.
And all they do is just pound the rock. They got the transfer quarterback from Arkansas who is
he's so much fun.
He is a load.
So much fun. KJ Jefferson.
And by the way, Colorado, they got on the edges by Baylor's quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we have everybody has their eye on Colorado. Deion Jr. even said, when people were complaining, how's Colorado not even receiving votes for the top 25? He tweeted out, we shouldn't. Which is fair.
Mm-hmm.
Dose of honesty out of Colorado and
sprinkle.
Sanders. But there are some intriguing games like the Oklahoma State-Kansas State game, which Kansas State BYU was the weirdest football game I've ever seen. Like, Kansas State looked like they were in control, and then like 2 minutes before halftime, they get a turnover. BYU scores.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of the half, they turn the ball over again. BYU short field scores. They look like they're getting a little bit of momentum. They have to punt the ball away. Some white dude for BYU returns a punt for a touchdown, pukes on the sideline because he ran probably 150 yards because he caught the ball on the right side of the field, went all the way back almost into his own end zone, and goes up the left sideline for a touchdown, and then he was all hopped up on Mountain Dew. He threw up.
Does that have caffeine?
It does. It does. It does.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Do we mention a 5-layer burrito here?
No. Yeah.
Liv Moss.
That's Saturday night. He put it in the freezer.
Oh boy.
Hey, at least he's not doing Florida State guy.
Yeah, no.
He needs to do that before the game, though, right?
Yeah, I think that's the deal.
I mean, before you take on number 20 Oklahoma State, you got to do it. Yeah.
Look, if you're eating your lunch, I'm sorry, we're past that period of time. The grace period has ended. A guy tweeted out, a Kansas State fan, that if they lose to BYU, he will stick a Taco Bell beefy 5-layer burrito up his butt.
Yep. And he was going through it. His Twitter feed was must follow during that BYU Kansas State game.
BYU's Twitter feed after the game just said Liv Moss.
Yeah.
Great tweet. And that's probably the least expected account to make that tweet.
Yeah.
No, they have.
There's some fun. Some fun is being had.
That is the most BYU thing of all time.
I mean, they do.
They are
Taco
on
Bell.
the edge. Like, they're always
own Taco
edging.
Bell?
Doesn't the Mormon Church own Pepsi and Taco Bell?
I didn't know that.
I think a lot of them own Pepsi distributors. I'm not sure about Taco Bell.
Okay.
Wouldn't surprise me, though.
I could have swore they had an investment there.
Wouldn't surprise me. But Oklahoma State saw their shine come off them last weekend with Utah running a Wilson brother out there and beating the Cowboys in Stillwater without Cam Rising. That was impressive for Utah to get that win. And the most surprising thing about this is Ollie Gordon hasn't been impressive this year. Has anybody checked in on Ollie Gordon?
He's been bad.
Ollie Gordon has been very, very average.
Interestingly enough, him, Donovan Edwards and Damian Martinez, three of the probably best backs in the country coming in this season, have all been pretty quiet.
He has one 100-yard rushing game this season, and it was against South Dakota State, week 1.
Which, again,
like
good little program, but...
Yeah, but remember, that's the game he was supposed to be suspended for. Yeah. Mike Gundy said, we're gonna
gonna
make a
learn,
play against San Diego State for that DUI.
Oops.
Or, South Dakota State.
Yeah.
Well, he carried the ball for 28 times in that game. Mm-hmm. He hasn't gotten over 17 touches in any of the other games. The other 3, he's not getting. He's only averaging right around like 3 yards a carry outside of that opener in the last 3 games. And Utah did a great job bottling him up. So you have both Oklahoma State and Kansas State trying to figure some stuff out. You got Louisville and Notre Dame, a top 25 matchup, where Tyler Shuck, former Duck quarterback who transferred from Texas Tech, he's been playing really well. Very efficient for Louisville this year. They're 3-0, but they have to go on the road to South Bend. And Notre Dame has a quarterback that cannot throw the ball. I've been trying to tell people this. Like, Riley Leonard is fun to watch, and he's a wrecking ball to run.
But he's not a quarterback.
He can't throw the football.
No.
I watch
he can
too
slow
much
the
Duke.
ball. He can throw the ball slightly better than Alex Orji, which is not saying much.
That's not saying much at all.
No.
That's not saying much at all. But the other games of this weekend outside of top 25 and outside of, obviously, Georgia and Bama, which is crazy, riveting football there. Washington State goes on the road. They take on Boise State.
That's a big-time matchup because Boise State has to win that game.
I would love to see Washington State go undefeated this year. Just for the chaos grenade of what it would do to the college football playoff, because it's like they don't – Pac-12 is not recognized as a conference, so they would need to have a true at-large bid. And so the group of 5 team would still get in, and it would be like, I dare you to leave Washington State out of a 12-team playoff if they go undefeated. We're only 4 games into the season, but it would be the best chaos grenade in all of college football to see them get left behind and have that happen.
They're like an NCAA tournament team when you look at them, you're like, yeah, they're good, but like they're not great. But also, do you want to play them? The answer is no. No.
Nobody wants to play them.
No, you do not want to play. You do not want to play Washington State because.
But if you're talking about like they would go on the road as a 12 seed to the 5th ranked team, and they'd go to like Texas or Georgia or Alabama, they would get mopped.
Yes, but if they get in one of those weird spots where that number 5 team is, I don't know, God.
It'll be the best team out of the SEC.
Second best, yeah.
Yeah, the team that didn't win the conference championship is going to be there.
Could be Tennessee. It could be Ole Miss. It could be a team a little bit less tested, as great as they are, that maybe they slip up. Like I'm not giving it. I'm not saying it's a likely scenario. I'm saying
I just want the story of them making the field.
It would be spicy.
I would want them. I'd want them to do it. But you look at their schedule this week, next week, and then Oregon State,
and then run it.
That's what they have in front of them. Because there's a lot of doo-doo teams in the Mountain West that they have on the schedule. But like that's not to say Washington State can't stub their toe. We've seen this. We've seen this story before in the Palouse.
That's kind of what they do.
But I want them to do it.
And then you have Ole Miss taking on Kentucky, taking on their first real challenge of the season. Let's see how for real Ole Miss is.
They are very real,
and it's going to be interesting just to see how real.
They are 17-point favorites, and they probably win by 11.
Which is, I think, goes to tell you how strong that team is. Yep. And now let's get to the Georgia-Alabama game.
I love this game.
This is a game where I think a lot of people are dismissing Alabama because of Nick Saban and because Caleb Downs, one of the top DBs in the country, transfers to Ohio State, and you're worried about the secondary and all those kind of things. This Alabama team is early Nick Saban Alabama, where they have a quarterback who can make plays, but they are meant to maul. That offensive line might be the best in the country, and they absolutely annihilate fronts.
I'm really interested to see this matchup because of the fact that injury bugs kind of bit Georgia. Losing, back end defender, losing a guard, guard,
the best guard in the country, and Tate Rutledge.
So then Carson Beck too has a sprained AC joint.
Is non-throwing shoulder,
which is okay.
It's a matter of how effective is the tee shot.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
But this game, it's the first time that Bama has been a home dog since 2007. Nick Saban's first year.
And it was against LSU.
Oh, that was a good LSU team. Yeah.
LSU won 41-34.
But you have Alabama does have all the makings of a team that can give Georgia problems because Georgia is still elite on both sides of the football, but they have taken a depth hit in their defensive line. In depth hit on the defensive line because of what you just said about Alabama being able to maul you up front. It will be, all right, how big was that hit? We're going to find out this week.
Yeah, they don't have Javon Carter coming off the bench anymore.
Also, you look at where's Alabama weak? Like, where's the weakness of Alabama? It's in the back end where they have new pieces, right? Georgia, in their receiving core, I like Carson Beck. Their receiving core has not been as good as it has been in years past either.
No.
And
there's no Lad McConkey
when
out
you have
there.
to
There's no Brock Bowers.
Well, when you have to kick off your best receiver at the beginning of the year, probably taking a hit at the wide receiver position. So you have, strength on weakness. It's not as overwhelming as it has been in years past for Georgia.
It's not strength on strength anymore where it's like,
I think Bama gets them.
It's not impossible by any means.
No.
By any means.
Because Kalen DeBoer is a damn good coach. I love what Kirby Smart said about Nick Saban, too, this week, because it was so on par for Kirby Smart in the little pot shots that he takes on the edge.
Outstrain, out effort, win the line of scrimmages, and don't turn the ball over. I mean, those are all things that you could say every game, and that's not going to be any different in this game.
We've all asked questions, and we're going to keep asking questions about going to Tuscaloosa, and Nick Saban is not the head coach there. How different of an experience, or will it be a different experience for you?
I don't think so. Apparently, he'll still be there from what I hear with game day and everything, but I don't think that changes anything. They got a really good football team. They're very well coached. They're very sound in all their schemes. That hasn't changed, and good football players are going to determine this outcome, not coaches.
That would be a hell of a thing, though, if College Game Day's there and Nick Saban is still roaming the sidelines. Like, if he's on the sidelines for that game just watching, and if weird. Georgia does win, you'll get like the Chip Kelly game 1 against Boise State where Mike Bellotti was the AD just standing on the sidelines kind of leering over, and everybody's like, the old coach is still there watching.
Tapping him on the shoulder. He's going to put on a headset.
He's the one that could get it done.
Yeah. He's got to go into his suite, right? Like, if I'm DeBoer, I almost
demand he not be
You do not allow him his sideline
You are
pass.
not allowed on the sideline. Well, you can't have the guy who was there before. That's like Jay Leno hanging out at 10 o'clock and Conan's on at 11.
But
you
know what?
That.
If Nick Saban wants to be on the sideline,
he's
Nick Saban will be on the sideline.
And it is an important thing because they are playing at Bryant-Denny and they're not playing between the hedges. What's interesting is the markets have Georgia by 2.5. ESPN's analytics, their matchup predictor, has a 70-30 in favor of Alabama. That's pretty staggering.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Like, I mean, so it's just looking at the statistical analysis.
They're looking at all the analytics, the EPA, everything else that kind of feeds into it, which, those are the same models that drive a lot of the markets.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, college football is also run by, like, did the backup corner's girlfriend break up with him, and is he going to get burnt?
Which they may have
quarter?
information on. Somebody in that Georgia secondary might be going through it right now. They might be trying to make what's the young man's equivalent of a mixtape?
What?
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's what you used to
do.
What do they do? Like when they splice in on TikTok. Is that what it is?
Basically, you put like black and white filter, you in the gym working out, to insert sad like techno song.
No, that's
and then it says
no, that's not mixtape. You're missing. You don't know what a mixtape
hurt me.
is.
No, a mixtape you make is like if you like someone, you get all your best music, all your best songs.
It's just your jams.
Put it onto a
Sometimes
thing,
you had to record it off the radio.
Yeah,
yeah.
With like a
You're
VH1
thinking
or
like
something.
a guy who just got dumped.
Well, yeah, you just.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's it look like? What's the breakup mixtape look like now?
Oh, the breakup mixtape.
Sad TikTok reel.
Yeah,
you in the gym,
right?
Black and white filter. You've got some
no
sort
more
of
boner
techno
jams?
thing going, and then you've got like the caption of like,
Dang.
"She broke me," or "She doesn't know what she's missing."
Why are there 3 videos of you in black and white working out on your Instagram, Will?
Good luck with that. At Will Ortner, head on over there. Feel free. There ain't one on there. You've never seen it, and you never will.
Because he can't date anyone.
Or get
maybe
500 yards of a wait. What? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, that's it for a little college football. We'll wrap up today's show with a little bit more NBA news and some news about your Portland Trailblazers. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. Obviously about Zach Lowe being let go of ESPN. There's also some big-time basketball news as it pertains to the NBA at large, as former MVP Derrick Rose has decided to hang it up in the NBA, retiring.
That's big news?
I think that's big news.
We're big news. That Derrick Rose is retiring, big news?
I mean, a former MVP is retiring. He asked for a buyout from a team that didn't want the money.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty big news.
But this is like
big enough for the end of the show.
Slowest. There we go.
There you go.
This is the slowest car going off the cliff of all time. It was like a decade ago. He said he wanted to be able to stand up and walk his kids down the graduation aisle.
Yeah,
which was a weird thing. Yeah. He didn't say wedding aisle,
which is weird because
stand up to watch his kids graduate.
Probably didn't legally graduate.
Dang, that's tough. Well, we do know at Memphis he didn't legally take his SATs.
Ding, 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 ding. That's the minor note here.
His comeback was pretty fun, though.
It was. I mean, it's unfortunate, obviously, what happened and what the change meant for his career, because he would have been an all-timer. But,
and his nickname in Chicago as the Windy City Assassin.
Mm-hmm. Great name.
That's badass. That's a great nickname.
Great name. More importantly, as it pertains to the Portland Trailblazers, the Trailblazers announced earlier that they, in this season where they're honoring the life of Bill Walton, they will have a tie-dye 32 patch on their jerseys all season long.
That's a great nod.
It
Dr. Jack got the plaid patch. Bill Walton gets the tie-dye.
Yep.
I'm here for it.
And then March 9th, which is against the Detroit Pistons, which the reason they're doing that is because Luke Walton is assistant coach for the Pistons, so he'll be in town for the tribute. Will be a Bill Walton appreciation honoring night where all fans are encouraged to wear tie-dye, and they'll be giving away tie-dyed headbands.
Yes.
Leaning into it fully for Big Red.
And if Luke was like his dad, he would wear it coaching from the bench.
I bet you Luke Walton will wear tie-dye from the bench.
I like that.
I would be stunned if he didn't.
That'd be the most Walton move of all time.
Also, a little bit more Trailblazers news. I hinted at this a couple weeks ago.
These are newsy.
Yes, the Portland Trailblazers have made a bunch of hires and changes, and particularly as it pertains to their H&P, their health and physio staff. Long and short of it is they've had a bunch of groin/core injuries over the last couple of years that were really inexplicable and unexplainable.